do you do? You must be Mr. Hercule Poirot. Chief Inspector Jupp told me that you might be coming.
This is Apzz Gaming.
Madame, you may be of valuable help to me.
It would be my pleasure to help you. Will there be some journalists there as well?
I think you might even be interviewed. You are key witness.
I've suspected him for some time, but he appeared so harmless. Oh yes, sometimes he got angry and waved his arms about. But even then, he wasn't frightening. And he was as gentle as a lamb again immediately afterwards. It was only this morning that I understood. He told me he was going to Cheltenham, but my daughter saw him at Euston Station. It's not the right station. To get to Cheltenham, you have to take the train from Paddington. And what's more, Mr. Cuss left behind an ABC with Doncaster underlined. As you can imagine, when I saw that, I called Scotland Yard.
Welcome back to the final part of the ABC murders.
Well done. You were right. He did go to Doncaster.
So I was right to warn the police.
Tell me, did you have any other reason to suspect Mr. Cust?
Well, he's odd. Sometimes he coughs really loudly and complains that his throat is burning, and sometimes he talks to himself and stares into space. He told me that it was because of a wound he got in the war. His head hasn't been quite right since, he said. And then he was in Churston when that millionaire got murdered. I found his train ticket when I washed his coat. He didn't want me to wash his shirt. He washed it himself. But I did see big brown stains on it.
A lot of scenes to get through today. Don't forget to like this if you've enjoyed the series.
Do you think it was blood?
Well, when I saw them, I thought, look, he spilled his wine or his soup all over himself. But now that I think about it, well, they did look like blood.
Cust used to travel for his work. Is that correct?
Oh, it wasn't for pleasure. He was always unwell on trains. But he had to sell his stockings around England. I have to respect my engagements, he used to say.
Do you know where Cust was at the time of the murder in Andover and Bexhill? On June the 21st and July the 25th?
No, I don't know. That was a while ago, you know.
But surely you keep a register.
It won't do you much good. Mr. Cuss rents his room for the year. If he goes away for a few days, I have no reason to make a note of it. Ah! I remember one thing. Bexhill's by the sea, right?
Indeed, it is a large seaside resort.
Well, as it happens, at the start of July, Mr. Cust asked me to repair his bathing dress. Suspicious, huh?
Very interesting. Please continue.
I also forgot to say that he started buying newspapers that talked about the case. The evening ones and the daily ones.
That will be all for now. I'm going to take a look at his room.
So as we enter the room, we're going to take a couple of medicines from the shelf.
Laudanum, a medicine for coughs. It is what Dr. Clark prescribed for Mrs. Asher. Diethyl barbituric acid, Johnson Company. I know this medicine. It is a powerful sedative.
Now that we've done that, we're going over to the desk and we're going to take a look at the things on there.
John Milligan, Managing Director, Silky Legs, Frederick Street, Leicester. To A.B. Cust, Marbury's Guest House, 1935, May the 21st. Dear Sir, further to our letters dated 5th and 10th of the month, we confirm we are you as door-to-door salesman, according to the conditions stated in our previous letters. We will send you the articles by mail and also a Redfield typewriter you will be using for every business letter. Regarding the schedule of your rounds, please do as following. June 21, Andover. Arrive by train the 20th in the evening and get a room at Station Hotel. Start your turn in the north part of the town. This letter establishes that Cust went to Andover, but the ink has hidden the destinations of his other trips. I know from Mrs. Marbury that he went to Churston. I just have to show that he went to Bexhill, and I will have proved that he was present at all the crime scenes.
But what's interesting is that his work is sending him to these places, so let's dig deeper and find out more.
A long bladed knife. A murderer's weapon. this subject would probably be useful to me. The left-hand heel has been removed.
So we're now on to one of our last thinking puzzles. As we remove the left-hand wheel, we've now got to do the same with the right-hand wheel. After these have both been removed, we're allowed to get the ribbon and check it out for ourselves.
And here is the ribbon. Let us see if it was indeed used to write the letters sent by ABC. All the letters announcing the murders were written on Cust's typewriter.
And just a few more things to check out before we go and speak to Jack.
ABC guys, enough to sign about a dozen murders. This knife is very useful. Who knows, maybe it never cut anything other than string. Trousers, white shirts, everything has been washed very well. The Bexhill daily paper, dated from the day of the Bexhill murder. Most probably the bathing dress repaired by Mrs. Marbury's expert hands. All the main articles referring to the ABC case are here, from the Churston murder onwards. Nothing before that date.
Good evening, Chief Inspector. Welcome. Please excuse me, I must go to the kitchen. I'll leave the key of Mr. Cust on the counter.
I'm sorry I'm late. I've spent ages with the Doncaster police. And you?
I have established one fact. On 3 occasions, Cust was at the scene on the day of the crimes.
I've listened closely to what you have to say, Poirot. For me, there's no doubt Cust is guilty. Do you have any element that might prove the contrary?
That is what we're going to look for.
The evidence against Cust is overwhelming. His presence at the scenes, the knife, the blood-stained shirt, the ABCs in a box.
C'est vrai. However, the blood Mrs. Marbury saw on Cust's shirt may have been his own. According to his medical records, he suffers from hemoptysis. The murderer cut Sir Carmichael's throat from behind, and the blood spurted outwards. You would expect the murderer's shirt to be stained on the sleeves, not on the buttonholes, yet we see quite the opposite. You would expect the murderer to keep the newspaper articles about his crimes. But Cust's collection starts in Churston, as if it discovered the case rather late.
I agree it's troubling, but it doesn't change my mind. There's small details that we should be able to clear up by questioning Cust.
When can we talk to him?
Doncaster is sending him to us on the first train.
Are they questioning him already?
He says he can't remember a thing.
It's plausible. Doctors say he suffers from absences and amnesia. Mrs. Marbury has confirmed this.
He may have done the murders in an altered state.
A familiar situation.
It's not enough to clear his name. Dr. Thompson insisted that even if you don't know what you're doing, you never commit a murder without wanting to.
Très intéressant. I shall remember that.
Right. I'll go and examine the suspect's room.
Chief Inspector, I took the liberty of removing a few clues to examinatum.
All right, we'll discuss them tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to see if you've missed something.
Now back in the interview room, it is time to ask some questions.
Good day, Mr. Cust. I am Hercule Poirot.
Ah, you're the detective.
Why did you send me a letter before each crime?
Why all these questions? When are you going to stop pestering me?
Maybe you forgot that you wrote these letters.
Yes, it's true. Sometimes I forget. Maybe I did type them.
Are you capable of murder, Mr. Cust?
All these questions are giving me a headache.
This is where the medicine that we took comes in handy. As we give it to him, we get him to speak a bit more.
Take this. It will help you.
Thank you. Oh, good God, my shirt is covered in blood again.
Bon. I now know where the bloodstains Mrs. Marbury saw came from. Are you well enough to speak?
Yes, I feel much better.
You enjoyed the war, Cust. Admit it.
I didn't want to be discharged.
But you killed him, as well as 2 other people.
That's what they all say.
Do you deny being at the scene of the crimes?
So? There was no harm in being there. It was only for my work.
You were seen at all the crime scenes.
Yes, I was. I travel a lot, but not for pleasure. I am terribly unwell in trains. But I had to respect my engagements. My employer gave me very precise written instructions about the towns I had to visit.
Let's see. The company you claim to work for, Silky Legs, has never heard of you. And as for these letters they sent you, they were written on your own typewriter.
The company sent me the typewriter when I started working for them.
Yes, but the letters were received afterwards. Let us see, Cust. Look at me. You know very well that you committed these murders?
Yes, I know.
But I'm not wrong in saying that you do not know why you committed them.
No, I don't.
There is one point to highlight. C'est curieux. Cust admits that he killed, but he does not know why. What did Dr. Thompson say? Even if Cust killed while in an altered state, it still must have been his deepest desire. He must have had a motive.
Let's keep it simple. Never mind his motive. He confessed.
But you see, he can confess to anything and everything. He denied the murders and then confessed to them. He confirmed that he never typed the letters, then with great ease, I managed to get him say quite the opposite.
Come on, he behaved like a guilty man. He lied to his landlady.
Because deep down he believes himself guilty. From the papers he noticed that he had always been at the scene of the crimes. He must think that he killed and then simply forgot what he had done.
How can you be so sure?
Let us look at his psychological profile. You will understand my point of view. You see, Cust's character is quite the opposite of the murderer's.
But if he's a madman, can we really talk about his character?
You know very well that our murderer does not behave like a psychopath. Apart from the signature, there is no ritual repetition in the choice of victims.
Very well, you're right as always. So we have no confession, no culprit, no suspects, nothing. And all that after 2 months of inquiry? What should I do?
Have faith. Just give me 24 hours.
Cust's arrest is a great success for you, Poirot. It's all clear now, except maybe 1 or 2 details.
Details. Ah, mon ami. The devil is in the detail, as we say.
Excuse me?
Patience, Hastings. Everything will be clear once our guests arrive. Best be prepared. Slip a revolver into your pocket before they do.
A revolver? But Poirot, what are you afraid of?
Trust me. It is important you carry a weapon for this meeting. I will lend you mine.
What about telling me what you have in mind?
Surtout pas. You wouldn't be able to play your role. Wait 1 moment, I will bring you my weapon.
However, before we get that, we're going to have one last look at the papers on the table.
A.B. Cust is the name of the alphabet murderer. The police have arrested him in a hotel in Doncaster. He was preparing to kill his 4th victim, Mr. Dick Dudley Dunbar, the establishment's manager. Mr. Dunbar owes his life to the miraculous intervention of Inspector Chapp of Scotland Yard and Detective Hercule Poirot. September 11th, 1935. General Medical Journal. The alphabet murderer is not psychotic, according to Professor Thompson. In an early issue, we claimed that the alphabet murderer was not psychotic. The ammunition are blank cartridges. The others are real bullets.
And you can see what we chose right at the end.
Voila, I entrust you with my weapon. It has hardly been used, it is almost new.
Why have you brought us here, Mr. Poirot?
Since Cust's arrest, I thought it was all done and dusted. Miss Gray formally identified him, as well as Miss Barnard.
Yes, and the stockings he saw drove the same brand as the ones found at my aunt's.
This is all true. However, a case is not closed if some questions remain open. And one question is, why did the murderer send me his letters? Why did he challenge me, Hercule Poirot?
Perhaps he wanted to play with you, to taunt you.
Xenophobia? Maybe he didn't like you because you're foreign.
I may be wrong, but maybe by provoking you he was looking for glory?
All these theories should be studied.
You might like to explain your reasoning again.
Of course. First of all, remember that the murderer made it a rule to always post his letter before the murder. He never digressed from that rule. However, in Churston, he encountered a problem. The village has only 500 inhabitants. With advance warning, it would be easy to arrest him. Therefore, the murderer delayed his letters deliberately with the wrong address. The plan wouldn't have worked if he'd sent it to Scotland Yard or the papers because everybody knows their addresses. The mistake would have been corrected and the letter would have been on time. That is why the murderer chose me as the recipient.
Because for his plan to succeed, it was necessary for at least one of the letters to have a wrong address and get lost. It was very cunning.
Absolument. It is a very subtle plan. It matches the profile we have drawn up of him perfectly. That of an intelligent, daring and calculating murderer.
But that's not how you describe Cust.
You are quite right, mademoiselle. Like you, I find it hard to believe that this dull character is the clever murderer we are looking for.
Do madmen... I mean, if he's mad, he might have two very different sides.
No doubt. But the murderer is not mad. All the specialists agree that he does not have the profile of a psychopath.
But if Cust is not guilty, how do you explain his presence at the scene of the crimes?
Mr. Clark, the answer to your question is in the medical records of your brother's patients. Documents which Cust most certainly did not have access to. Dr. Clark's patients' records provided a very useful list of potential victims, sorted by alphabetical order. The killer definitely used it, explaining the fact that all the victims were former patients of the doctor. It is this fact that clears Cust once and for all, because he never had access to these records. So how did he happen to be at the scene of the crimes? Either the murderer sent him there, or Cust was following him closely. Cust's highly suggestible nature leads us to the second hypothesis. The murderer was manipulating him. He systematically sent Cust to the towns where he was going to strike, so that the suspicion would land on the poor man's shoulder.
That's evil. What sort of killer could have such a plan? And what would he gain from 3 completely different murders?
Indeed, it seems unlikely that the same murderer committed all the crimes. What should we take from that? Just one murder was of benefit to the murderer. The others were just diversions. On reflection, there is only one conclusion. The murderer killed once out of interest and twice to divert our attention. This reasoning points at 2 potential culprits.
Franklin Clark.
Donald Fraser?
Yes, mademoiselle, that's good thinking. Mr. Fraser may have killed Betty out of jealousy. Mr. Clark may have killed his brother in order to inherit his large fortune. Both have a motive.
But Donald did not have access to Dr. Clark's records.
Please allow me to disagree with you, mademoiselle. He works for Court and Brunskill, one of whose clients was Sir Carmichael.
It doesn't prove that I went to Comeside.
You could have done it, and you may have used the opportunity to take a look at Sir Carmichael's records.
Do you think I'm guilty?
You or Mr. Franklin Clark?
That's ridiculous.
Both of you have a motive. The question is, which of you has the profile that most resembles the murderer? Ladies and gentlemen, Donald may share many character traits with the murderer, but he does not have his cold indifference. He has a temper. It is hard to imagine him planning anything. Also, jealousy is his motive, and crimes of passion are rarely planned.
Right, I suppose it's my turn to be subjected to the same scrutiny.
Absolument, Mr. Clark. As you have all seen, There is a disturbing similarity between Mr. Clark's profile and that of the killer. In actual fact, it is exactly the same.
Mr. Poirot, your psychological studies are interesting, but your conclusions do not add up. Why would I have wished my brother's death? The inheritance is lawfully mine. I just have to wait.
No, you had to act quickly because of Miss Grey. Mademoiselle, although you haven't been telling the truth, there is no doubt in my mind that you would have found a way to marry Sir Carmichael after Lady Clark's death. For you, Mr. Clark, it was a disaster. If Miss Grey had children by your brother, you would not have inherited a thing. You realized the danger after reading several letters from Comside, especially one in which your brother opened his heart to you. So you hurried home from China, and you took action. In truth, Cust was no more than a puppet manipulated by the real culprit. You, Mr. Clark.
Such an imagination, Mr. Poirot. In fact, nobody manipulated Cust. The famous instructions he received by post. He wrote them on the typewriter. We know that for sure.
Oh no. You know perfectly well. That is not true. Eh bien voilà. Light has now been shed on the ABC murders.
Your theories are ingenious, but you haven't any proof.
One point to him. For the moment, I have no material proof. Either I admit to it, or I bluff. One thing proves it. A carton of placed cigarettes you stole from Mrs. Asher and found at your home.
You have nothing on me. You're bluffing, Mr. Poirot. Come on, Thora, there's nothing for us to do here.
Don't touch me.
Thora!
I understand why you never wanted to lend me your new typewriter, and why you were searching through your brother's things. And the hole you dug on the moors. What did you hide there? The knife you used to kill your brother?
All right. Well played. I lose. The game's up. Don't come near me! I'll never let you take me, Mr. Poirot!
I'm sorry, Mr. Clark, there is no easy death for you. I expected your reaction, so I used blanks. I'm sorry, mademoiselle, but your second chance has been lost. Franklin Clark will never inherit his brother's
Well, what a
fortune.
journey it has been with a surprise ending there. Don't forget to check back for some more playthroughs and hopefully in the future some more detective ones too. Thank you guys for all your support, really do appreciate it, and I will catch you next time.